Welcome back to Sportsline. After months of searching, Ken Dryden finally came up with the answer. Approved by the team's board of directors yesterday, Dryden himself takes over as GM. Mike Smith, Bill Waters, and Anders Hedberg will be part of his team. Just as important as the names is the structure that Dryden himself designed. More on that from Bill Bird.
2.5 months ago, I told you my challenge was to help bring the Toronto Maple Leafs to the competitive top year in, year out, and to win the Stanley Cup. I did not think then that I'd be standing here telling you that I was taking on the additional role of general manager. I'm doing it because I want to do the job.
Just like that, Ken Dryden has put himself on the firing line, the man who has the last say in future Leafs wheelings and dealings. He'll be assisted by the following triumvirate. Former Winnipeg GM Mike Smith, as associate GM, will look after daily trade discussions and pro scouting. Anders Hedberg, most recently the Leafs European scout, becomes assistant GM in charge of amateur scouting and player development. And Bill Waters, assistant to the president, continues signing players, acting as St. John's GM, and will be involved in broadcast operations as well. The Boobs are given a thumbs up by returning coach Mike Murphy.
The more input from quality people you have, the better decision you can make, and I think that's the case now.
Dryden went to great lengths to point out this is not management by committee, even though that is the way it looks. As for the man who seems to be getting the short end of the stick, the former interim GM of the team, Bill Waters.
I never had any delusions of grandeur when it came to being the next general manager. I told Ken from the day we first met that I was there. I realized that he had a big job to find a new general manager, and if in fact he was unsuccessful, then he could call on me to look after the job until he found one.
While Dryden gives every indication he'll stay on as GM for the foreseeable future, what of Anders Hedberg, who many feel was brought in to be groomed for a GM's job?
I'm actually crawling before I can walk, so it's not that there's an end station. I'm taking one day at a time and see how good I can become and how I can manage the next step by coming here.
Bill Bird for Sportsline.
When you look at half of the Leaf management group, it brings a European and a man who tried a European/Russian experiment. The smooth Swede is Anders Hedberg. He will be an assistant GM, and as you heard, will take care of amateur scouting and player development. And Mike Smith, who's an associate GM. Sportsline's Don Martin reports.
It's only natural, given the Leafs' history of great Swedish players, that they should elevate a Swede to such a high executive position, while at the same time bringing aboard a former general manager noted for importing Europeans to the old Winnipeg Jets. Anders Hedberg, a 400-goal man with the Jets and Rangers, who actually scored a softie against his new boss in the '79 Stanley Cup Final, has been a scout with the Leafs since 1991. He takes charge of player development, while Mike Smith, former Jets GM, becomes associate general manager in Toronto. And both say they will not be playing geographical favorites.
No, because many times people are asking me in Europe, or they look upon me in Europe as, oh, he's just a North American, and here they look at me, oh, he's just a European. I'm probably somewhere in between. And if you say styles of play, today there's less and less difference in the so-called styles.
My Winnipeg experience doesn't tell me to not draft Tamo Selene or Keith Kachuk or Alexei Zhamnov or people like that. The Winnipeg experience for myself and everyone involved only reiterates the need to have quality players.
The two new faces will now work with incumbent Bill Waters under the overall supervision of Ken Dryden, which will worry those who believe there is such a thing as too many cooks. But all say the areas of responsibility are well enough defined to prevent any friction.
And very few people are cowboys in this business where they go off and do things on their own.
I think it's clearly that the main power is with Ken Dryden, as it should be, and I see no problems to divide our responsibilities around among the rest of us.
So instead of management by committee, it turns out Smith and Hedberg were added to the mix simply because the job was too big for one man. And with the Leafs, a team in transition, in case things do go wrong from time to time, there could be a certain value in being able to say, he did it. Don Martin for Sportsline.